This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, hi folks, welcome to the show. You can see I'm having a few technical difficulties here tonight. There is some weird things going on with backgrounds and, all sorts of stuff. We're also having one or two issues with our connection to Patriot 101. So you'll just have to bear with me as I try and get a few of these sort of little connection-y things happening. The bugs are at us tonight in a big way. And it's nice to see so many of you joining. Thanks for coming along. So the original plan, as you know, please excuse me not making eye contact. I'm trying to reboot this system as we go. The original plan this evening, of course, was to run on Project Matilda. Unfortunately, the bit of code that we were looking to have sorted couldn't be sorted in time. So we're here we are. I thought rather than cancel the show completely tonight, I know there was a lot of interest in it. Looks like we're going to have to make do just with my green screen too. I thought rather than cancel the show tonight, we would try and make do with something we can put on here on these channels instead. So consequently, there are certain things that we aren't going to be able to talk about. And I think regardless of which platform we air things, we are not going to be able to show you certain pictures, certain things, because I'm not terribly concerned about advertising revenue or anything like that. But it has been brought to my attention that it's not just me as a content provider that would have a problem here. It is the platform as well. So because Project Matilda is an AdSense platform, they could restrict advertising to everybody on that platform. So I wouldn't want to be responsible for stopping anybody's revenue earnings on Project Matilda. So consequently, if you're expecting to see blood and gore photos and all that sort of stuff tonight, I'm afraid you're going to be sadly mistaken. You will be let down because can't go showing you that sort of stuff. What we can do is talk and show you some significant details about things in, maybe here in Australia, maybe outside of Australia. We certainly know they are here. Can't guarantee that any of these photos that we're going to show you really are. But before we get into showing photos, I will introduce, because now we've managed to get our phone link happening, I'll introduce Patriot 101. Good evening. Now, do you want me to call you Patriot 101 or shall I use your Christian name? Well, that's going well. Oh, he's disappeared. Folks, the gremlins have got into us here. Just let me get the very technical hearing devices out. You're not there, Patriot 101.
Are you there now, Carl?
I am. Can everybody else hear him?
Hello.
Hey,
how are we?
Look at that. There is a clear, rousing, loud noise. Well done. Congratulations. Mate, technical
Good
issues
evening, mate.
galore.
Good evening.
Mate, they're trying to stop us getting together and having a chat tonight.
Let them try. Who cares?
Yeah,
you know?
I'm with you. Yeah, let them try.
Yeah, let them try.
So, Patriot 101, or do you want me to use your Christian name?
Oh, you can call me Red Pill Glenn if you like.
Red Pill
or just Glenn.
It is.
Beautiful.
So we've got a lot of mutual acquaintances, but this is the first time, really, we've sat down for an in-depth conversation other than the hour and a half we had on our first conversation.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So do you want to give us a little bit of a background into who you are? And, your Telegram channel is, garnering a lot of attention here in Australia because you are an Aussie with some pretty good intel. So Who
Yep.
is Patriot 101? Let's kick off with that.
Oh, okay. Well, Patriot 101 is the oldest of 8 children, and pretty much grown up in the rough life, and had a pretty rough upbringing. We never had much money growing up, and we had to get by. And I guess that sort of opened our eyes to a lot of things in this world, and it's made you step outside the square a lot and overthink things. And that's where it's come from. And I'm a musician. I'm a builder and carpenter by trade. I'm a butcher by trade. And I also have been in sales many times as well. So I do loads of different things and try and keep on top of life as best as I can. Just get through.
Don't we all?
And don't we all? So, and I've always known there's something wrong with this entire system. Always known. And always looked a lot deeper into things. So that's somehow led me, and I don't know how I got drawn into this vortex, but it's led me into this vortex, and a vortex of truth, and that's where I am today.
So do you have an historical tin hat collection? Does it date back to the 70s, or when did the journey really kick in?
Oh, no, not that far back. Probably, let's say about 22 years ago. Really is when I really started digging deep, because pre-22 years ago, the internet wasn't really anything that crash hot, you know what I mean,
Sure.
to do research.
Yeah.
So,
You
So
go to the local library and see what they had.
Yeah, well, you'd only get the curriculum that you were told.
Exactly right.
Generally.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So can I just ask, were you an extremely high achiever at school?
Absolutely not. No, not at all. I really found school to be boring, as it's been designed to be. So, yeah, I found it to be just a really boring thing, and I think that's where a lot of people fall through the cracks at school, is because the curriculum's set up to make people not want to be interested.
Yeah, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so I think that's the whole overall design of this New World Order, is to undereducate people. So, and they do quite a good job of it, I believe.
So what was the moment that woke you up, made you sure?
Yeah, the moment that woke me up was probably going back about 98, and I started seeing them spray in the skies with that dust. And I knew that was not right, and I sort of tried to look into it a bit further, but wasn't much information on it back then.
Yep.
And I was told by somebody that it had been going for 10 years before that. And I was like, well, how do we know what's in that dust? So that sort of made me look a little bit deeper into that, so I can try and work out what's going on there. And after jumping into one rabbit hole, it's a one-way valve, and once you know, you can't unknow.
Yeah.
And each one-way valve you go through, you learn something new, and you just keep moving on forward.
Yep.
So and that's how it goes.
So in those 22 years, you've been down 22.5 million rabbit holes, I imagine.
A lot of damn rabbits.
Yeah, a lot of damn rabbits, but a lot of damn dead ends too.
Yes, that's true too. See, that's another thing too. You had to, over that time, you had to learn discernment, because, as you know, there's a lot of psyops also out there that try and sway you in a different direction. And we all fall for them over time, here and there. And you fall a couple of times for them, and then you're like, wow, okay, then you learn to read the red flags.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of anti-psyops, ones that are out there to make the truth seekers look stupid, pretty much, and you have to learn to really be able to have insight into what they're trying to tell you and how much evidence is behind it, and you've got to do your other research behind that as well. You got to, make sure 100% or as close to 100% as you can get that is a actual factual bit of evidence.
Yeah.
Before you put it out, because you don't want to you want to have egg on your face, you know what I mean? And that happens over time as you're learning to expose things, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of exposing things, the natives are getting restless. What can I say? We've got quite a few people in the chat, and quite a few people online. There's a bit over 500 waiting on every word you're saying right here now. Red Pill Glenn So,
Yeah, wow.
so we've got a bunch of
Big-
slides that I've put together that we were initially going to talk over together. So I'm going to put
Mhm.
these slides up. I'll turn my camera off so you don't have to look at me and my green screen, and
Okay.
and I'll just let you know what those slides are. Clearly, you know, I'll flick through a few of them. We've got a lot of dumb entry and tunnel sort of images, but I'm keen to
Yeah,
sort of
sure.
learn the history of where you discovered the dumbs, but we'll kick it all off with something that I think everybody is pretty well aware of, and I don't even know if we can actually say the name. Otherwise, we'll get ourselves in potentially a little bit of trouble. But that's what the war is all over, folks. That's what.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, Carl. I mean, as long as you pull the photos up and pretty much we just keep talking on it, and I can give some pretty good introduction information on that anyway, so
Yeah,
that's
sure.
fine.
All right. Well, so the first one I've got up is the images of the drug they're chasing.
Oh, just say, can you say that again? Sorry.
Is the images of the drug they're chasing, the adrenochrome.
Oh, yeah, yep.
So the market for that is apparently quite significant. And
Well, it appears to be. It's come to light even more so over the last 2 years during this pandemic. It's come more to light how bad it is. It's and it's not just, there's many people speaking out about it. There's not just the evidence that I'll put forward to you, but there's also a lot of people who are well-known people speaking out about it as well.
absolutely.
So it's no secret anymore.
So
they can't.
if you're going to do this sort of stuff, you've got to do it somewhere, and you've got to do it somewhere where people, normal people, good people can't see it.
Can't see it. That's right.
So this has been going on an awfully long time, and we're looking now at some historical tunnel creations. So early elite tunnel systems. Now,
even before that, even back to the Egyptian days, even back then.
Is that right?
So, yeah, this is all good to go way back to the worship of Baal, as they call it, and Moloch. This is all to do with the sacrifices to Moloch, and not to go into too much graphic detail. This has been a long time around a long time. It's something that is just kept following through generations, through the bloodlines, and bloodlines stay within their own. And I guess not everyone's bloodline. Some people just sell their soul to this, for fame, for fortune, for notoriety. I just don't understand. I can't grasp it. I don't understand why anyone would. But some people are that desperate to make something of themselves in this world that they sell the very vital essence of themselves, their soul.
So,
and I can.
Sorry. So some of these images here are showing the U-Bahn, the New York's pneumatic, what it stands for, U-Bahn, or the Hyperloop. Now,
is that in the historical ones? Yeah? Yes, that's right. That's right.
So that was quite a legitimate system working in New York.
That's correct. They were using something like that many years ago. I mean, it's something that that's even better than what they have today. Like they give us crumbs.
And these were at a level, of course, that were accessible to the general public. So this sort of. So, in essence, you supplied these photos saying that, well, we were creating the tunnels like this back in the 1800s.
That is correct. That is correct.
And if we click through, we can see, obviously they've been building tunnels for a long time, and subways, particularly New York and London, have been known for their subway systems.
Yes, they tend to use. They tend to also use a lot of ancient tunnels. They use volcanic pipes to enter these tunnels as well. They tend to use a lot of things that are already there and just add, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Okay.
Just keep adding and building network that joins right across the entire planet. So it's very hard. It's very hard to imagine, and a lot of people who are just listening now and hearing this sort of stuff, I know it's very hard to believe, but the whole entire Earth has been linked by tunnels, completely linked by tunnels, and like a network.
Just showing the first of the dumb entrance images that we've got. Now, some of these are a little difficult to see because they're a number of images all bulked together on a screen and sort of taken in an odd angle. But some of those look to contain water as well. So you're putting forward the idea here that there is subterranean and, well, if you like, submarine access to various different holding areas, pens or dums. And
correct. And if we go down to Antarctica, in Antarctica, what happens underneath the ice, which is kilometres deep, we have natural hot springs that come out of the ground. So what's happened down there is you get like 25-degree temperature lakes and caverns that have formed from the warmth of the water coming up. And these pipes have created massive tunnel systems into these caverns, like natural tunnel systems through the ice. And these are all the submarine entrances into these caverns where they build super cities and dams inside. So, yeah.
So we're looking at some of the entrances now. I've got a shot up at the moment that is an exterior of a, well, 2-entrance dome by the look of it. Some would say, and I've been to mine sites, hard to tell the difference between the mine site entrance there or a tunnel indeed into the side of a mountain in Europe somewhere for a train, except there's no train line going in here. So
that is correct and inconspicuous, you see.
Right. So what makes this a dumb other than somebody wrote dumb entry number 1 on it or entry 1 on it?
Pretty much from the source that I get it from, which
Yeah, we're not divulging sources. That's all good.
Yeah, we're not divulging sources. Yeah, that is.
Well, what is it? The US president says, sources and methods are protected, or whatever the hell. So
correct.
Absolutely, we won't go into that. Can you tell us whether or not any of the images we are seeing here tonight are located in Australia?
I think most of those ones are all overseas and more around the USA in those areas and Switzerland and Geneva and places like that. The ones from Australia, because Australia is currently under a cleanup now. As I don't know if you know. So Australia is currently getting cleaned as we speak.
So that Australia is number 2 on the list of places, the worst places that need cleaning. With the worst,
that's correct.
With the worst being Ukraine.
Yes, the Ukraine was bad, especially under the Biden property.
Yes,
yes, that
absolutely.
Was a bad one as well.
But Australia,
all the way to Kiev.
Yeah, but Australia has been quite the shock. So we've known we have military bases here that are of deep interest and very, very secretive, including those.
Pine Gap, yes.
Yep, located in Central Australia. Now,
well, we did have Pine Gap anyway.
yeah. Well, it was the home of Five Eyes, which became Three Eyes, and I'm not sure who's running it at the moment or whether they have eyes at all. They may just have tentacles and antennae.
Well, there's a terrible lot of earthquakes happening in Tennant Creek lately. If you've been watching the Earthquake Geoscience platform, so there's a lot of.
I've been watching the earthquakes lately. Now let's just talk about earthquakes because we do have. Let me just see if I can skip to a couple of the pictures here somewhere. Find out where they are. I'm sure I had a couple of earthquake measurement photos somewhere, but I don't seem to have loaded them up.
Yeah, they're normally 2.3 to 4.3 magnitude, and they're all 10 Ks and less deep.
So you can go to any earthquake monitoring site you like in the world and do a historical search under different preferences. Put the preference at 10 kilometers deep. And just have a look in the last 12, 18 months, how many earthquakes there have been at exactly 10 kilometers deep.
Yes. Yes, that's just not by chance, you could say. Sort of points out something that's very much the same depth all the way around the world, doesn't it? Like a tunnel,
It
I
certainly
would say.
it would indicate something like that to, maybe a normal thinking person, but who
Yeah.
knows? Many people, um, quite rightly, question that. We don't want people
Hmm.
to, we don't expect people to believe us, and um,
No,
you know, not necessarily here to convince you as such. We're here to
no.
give you something you can think about, something you can analyze, something you can
Yeah,
chase up yourself and
yeah,
investigate.
yeah. We're not here to twist people's arms. It's into believing what we say. Um, my main thing is making sure the children in this world are safe. That is my main thing, and that they're our future. And if that's being compromised in any sort of way at all, that's when we've all got to sort of think, well, hang on a minute, we need to know what is really going on, and we need to rise to that, and we need to rise against that, because it's been going for a long time now, and the game's over. I believe the game's over. It's enough.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to deal with this evil on our earth anymore, whether it be under us and away from our eyesight or not. There's no room in this world for this secret society rubbish and this evil. It needs to go, and this planet needs to be rid of it. And the only way we'll have a good planet.
Wars are pretty expensive things, particularly when you've got to fight them in exotic places against exotic foes using exotic technology. It's been pretty lucky that while we have a lot of tunnels in the world, they've been hiding an awful lot of stuff in those tunnels.
Yeah, we have our deep space programs, cloning facilities,
piles
lots
of gold.
of things pile of gold. The gold's a good one. I mean, this is the funny thing and silly thing about it is where they've stolen the gold from, they've labelled where it came from, which is quite easy for it to be handed back. But I mean, that's the sort of thing, like they're finding. There's supposed to have been an octillion dollars worth of gold found under the Swiss mountains.
Wow.
And that's 27 zeros.
Wow.
There was no idea there was that much gold on this planet. So that's what this is all about. So the gold itself is not valuable to them for money. They've got enough of that.
Yeah.
There's a few reasons why the gold's hoarded, and the gold is hoarded to keep us from having it. Because if we have it, then we're free, and if we're free, they've got no slaves. So number one is to keep us in slavery, and number two is because gold is a great conductor of the Earth's electricity, as plasmatic electricity that Tesla was dealing with.
Yes.
Gold is one of the greatest receptors of that. So that's where the value in gold is. So that's why the pharaohs used to drape themselves in gold, because it's healing properties and its power it could give you.
Of course.
So having so much gold, we've never had that much gold to know.
Yeah, true.
Well, I haven't. I haven't anyway, so.
No, but if you ever had a sty on your eye, your grandmother would have pulled off her wedding ring and rubbed it on your eye, and your sty would have gone away. But
that's right.
It all depended what quality gold it was, whether it was 24 karat or 18 karat. I can't remember which one it had to be. But
that is correct. 24.
Gold fixes styes in people's eyes.
It does, and it is known to be the great conductor for healing properties on this earth. And now that's the thing. So when they built these tunnels, right, not directly on ley lines, but next to ley lines. And ley lines are where the tectonic plates meet each other, in between. So you can't build a tunnel across a tectonic plate, obviously, because the plates move. It'd crack the tunnel and smash the tunnel. So by building the plates building the tunnels alongside of the plates and storing the gold in the tunnels, any of that healing frequency coming out of the earth would not make it to us, but it would attract it to the gold.
Yep.
If you know what I mean.
Yep.
So then it would go back to the gold and back to the earth again, or they'd harness it for themselves. So this is what's been going on as well. So this is a lot to take in for a lot of people who are just listening now to this sort of thing, but it's an actual factual that gold has a great conducting capacity for our healing energy on this earth, and that's its real value.
So
besides its luster and
Yeah, and we all have a share of it. We all own a chunk of that gold.
We do.
So,
Sovereign. We are sovereign to this earth, and we have equal right to this earth as everybody else has. We are sovereign from the day we are born.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
There's been an interesting question sprung up in chat when we were talking about earthquakes, and you were talking about using lava channels as transportation means. Somebody has thrown up in one of the chats that in Tonga, the earthquakes over there were over 40 kilometres deep. I would also point out that in Tonga, people think that there was an earthquake.
Yes. I can answer that one for that person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we had video footage of that was posted a while ago, and I will try and find that through the week. It slowed down, and you can see a rod of God actually going into the water before it explodes. So that was a rod of God, by the way. And these dams are very deep.
Yeah.
Like they're deeper than people think. If you think about the Earth's mantle is 2,900 kilometers deep. That's a long way down. So some of these dams are said to be up to 90 kilometers deep.
Yeah.
And so that's how. If you ever get a chance, anybody who's listening, and you see any videos by Gene Decode, have a listen to Gene's work. He's quite on top of it all, and he's got all the mapping systems and everything as well. So Gene Decode, if you're listening and you want to write that down, he's very good to listen to.
So let me just explain a rod of God, because there's a few people asking that question now.
Sure.
So rods of God are a space-based weapon that essentially work off inertia. They are a telephone pole-sized piece of tungsten,
20 ton.
20 ton, and it's essentially targeted and ejected from space. And as it re-enters Earth, it becomes hypersonic in speed. It doesn't contain any weaponry. It doesn't have a warhead or any kind of explosive. No. But 20 ton of tungsten traveling at 20 times the speed of sound or more. And when it hits something, is going to make a big hole.
It goes a long way into the ground before it explodes. It'll bury itself up to half a kilometre into the ground before it explodes. It's shaped like a dart, made of tungsten, and like you said, it's 20 ton. But it's it'd be wild. It's wild to see.
So why pick on Tonga? That's because there was a dam there.
That's correct.
Off Tonga. Now, I've actually heard too that the rod of God was used in a way that you helped nature create the damage here, so that when it went through, because of where this was, it was a volcano that supposedly went off. 10 or 9 kilometers down, wherever the base of that volcano was, is where this rod of God went through initially. And it punched the lava, like the lava channel, the lava bulb, if you like, that is under the volcano. That is
correct.
And they've drained that volcano into the hypertubes that they've been using for transport. So
into the hypertubes, that's correct.
So
the maglev.
Yeah. So they've drained a volcano to block a tunnel using a space-based weapon.
Yes, I might just explain to people what a maglev is while we're at it too, so they know, because these hyper tunnels that they have, which is why all these 10-kilometer deep earthquakes are. If you start a tunnel at 10 kilometers deep on land, it'll go under most ocean beds. So that's why they start at 10 kilometers deep. So these hyper trains they're called a maglev, and they don't touch the rail at all. It's all magnetic, and these things travel at 1,700 miles an hour, and that's pretty damn fast. So you'd be talking probably from Sydney to Western Australia in about 40 minutes.
I'm told Sydney to Los Angeles in under 3 hours.
And under 3 hours, that'd be about right.
So
under 3 hours, So this is the systems they've been using, but we don't get to see this stuff. We only get the crumbs, because we all know that I've got footage of even like the anti-gravity machines that was flying around during the Hitler times, where they were actually testing anti-gravity. So they've had it for a long time, but everything that might have set us free has been hidden from us and taken underground and kept from us in all these secret space programs. They've come up with a lot of things since then, like TR-3Bs, which are those triangular ships that they talk about and whatnot. And there's a new one out too now. It's a TR-3B Black Manta, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's apparently the latest technology, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more sleek and streamlined, where the other one was like a block sort of triangle shape.
Yes.
Like this one's a real streamlined looking thing. So there's a lot of stuff that's been around and the technology sort of, it's probably for another topic on another night. That I do believe there's a lot of extraterrestrial technology in what we have today as well.
So the problem that I think a lot of people are having is because we have no real proof of what we're saying here.
Okay. Yep.
What do you say to the absolute skeptics, or even to the ones who want to believe but just can't see anything at the moment that tips them over the end?
Okay. Yeah. So I get a lot of people say, "Oh, I know you're telling me there's a war under the ground, but I can't see it." Well, it's under the ground. Number one, you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
The other thing is everyone says, "Oh, like, how come they can't just go ahead and just stop this now and arrest it? And why are they promoting all this stuff to us and nothing's happening?" See, the thing is, there is evidence there, and I do post a lot of stuff of evidence on my channel. If people get a chance to go onto Patriot 101 and check that out, but it's up to the people whether they want to know or not. A lot of people will say, "No, that's rubbish," but they won't look into it. Like they don't want to see the evidence. It's like they want to stay cognitive dissident to it all.
Yep.
And they don't want to try and realise that there may be something else going on. So it's really up to the individual to do the research. I mean, there is evidence. There's loads of evidence. I've got video footage on my channels. Way back, I have to go right back through the channel, but there's lots of evidence. They show you video footage of these ships being chased by fighter jets, and it stops dead, and the fighter jet keeps going past it, and then things go straight into the ocean next to a warship, and it shows you it all. And I've got the footage of them flying also on my channel, of them flying the UFOs back in Hitler's day. So it was all there. It's all there, and I can repost all that stuff again too, if people would like, or I can send it through for our next chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Very keen on that.
Yeah.
So tell me about Canberra.
Yeah.
I find Canberra a terribly interesting town.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. I've been finding more and more. I lived there for 8 months. Canberra and I didn't get along very well, and now I know why. But what can you tell us about UFOs in Canberra and cloaked devices landing in Lake Burley Griffin?
So you saw that? You saw that post? Yeah. Well, that's came from U.S. Special Forces. That Canberra was being set up for the head of the New World Order.
Yeah.
That's why the Parliament House was built. Originally, they wanted to establish their ground here in Australia, because Australia has loads of goodies. Like Australia is rich in natural resources. It's a beautiful country. The coastlines are amazing. It's an incredible place. They wanted it all to themselves. So Canberra was going to be the setup place for their New World Order. So there's a lot of tunnel systems under Canberra. We heard a lot of booms down there, and we were down there as well, under the ground. There's been a lot of booms under the ground where I live here. And there's also been a lot of booms around Holsworthy and those areas as well lately. So, yeah, there's a lot of action going on under the ground at the moment.
Getting a lot of reports that there's a lot of action in the air above military bases, particularly.
Yes, we've been watching the flight watch.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. What can you interpret from that?
I do believe that if anyone hasn't heard of this before, there is a group called the Alliance, and these are a bunch of soldiers that are either ex-military or currently serving military that have signed over to help in this war against this cabal. And I do believe now Australia is being cleaned as we speak by the alliance, which are from all over different countries, and they joined and got together and decided to take out this deep state rubbish. So they've been doing it for a while. Actually, everyone's heard of Q. Well, Q is an army, is an actual army, and Q has been working for a lot longer than these last 2 years to fix this problem. So, to my understanding, I believe the cleanup is happening here, and it's not going to be very long before we see the results.
I think we're going to be very impressed with the results.
I think so.
Shocked initially, but very impressed. And look, people can doubt what we say. Like we say, we're not telling you have to believe a word of what we're saying. But there
For
are
sure.
hotels that you can go to where you won't be able to get in because they're all full up, because people wearing military uniforms, insignia from different countries, are all hanging around the pool. They're not drinking.
That's correct.
But they are having a bit of a relax.
Yes. And a friend of mine saw about, she said there's a load, like 600 or 700 military guys at Nowra, and Nowra, New South Wales, and they were all in uniforms, same uniforms, but different flags, and they all spoke different languages.
Yeah, yep.
And yeah.
Also,
so you go ahead.
Also, getting reports of a similar-sized group, if you like. I was going to call them a force, but only because of where they're situated, and that's at Shoalwater Bay, up north of Rockhampton, which is a Defence Force range.
Yes.
So I haven't got. I was told I was going to receive some photos of military landing craft, water landing craft, and whatnot. I suppose landing Marines or landing whoever there. I haven't seen any of that yet. None of that's turned up. So I can't tell you that it's true, but I do know that there is I've got a certain contact up that way that has seen a large influx of military traffic through their business recently, and and come from a lot of different countries also.
Cool.
But decidedly unfriendly people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this indicates.
So you think
different,
possibly UN?
Yeah, I'm thinking that could be the UN force.
UN or NATO, one of the two.
Yeah.
Could be either. Yeah, that's interesting. Because the ones in now are friendly.
Yeah, unfriendly versus the ones
are very friendly.
Yeah. They go out and have a beer, or not a beer, but you see them in the pub or see them in the street. They're happy to talk. Same on the Gold Coast. I know personally somebody who was in the Gold Coast in a hotel, booking in and surrounded by military types, and she said, "Oh, I don't know that I feel very safe," to the clerk behind the counter, and there was a guy in uniform beside her, and he leant over and he said, "You don't need to worry, love. You're in the safest place in the country right now," and left it at that. So they're pretty chatty kind of folks. They're not necessarily telling you what they're doing here, but they're not hiding that they're here.
That's right. You've got to imagine what these guys see, and we won't go into detail about that, but we've got to take our hats off to these guys because they put their lives on the line. They're fighting in conditions that they're not accustomed to. They had to be retrained.
Yeah.
To be able to handle underground warfare, because if you can imagine under the ground, you get rattled. You wouldn't know which way's which. You could lose your bearings very quickly if you're in a dark tunnel or going through dark tunnels, or not knowing which way goes where, or there could be a booby trap here or something. So
interesting that you
mentioned on edge.
Interesting that you mentioned booby trap there. You and I had a bit of a conversation about some of the weaponry that's being used, because it's not what we would term conventional weaponry.
No, and I'll try and find that and repost it on my channel and send it to you as well. But they have a weapon and they fire it through the tunnel. It just explodes at different intervals, but explodes with a sonic boom as it goes through the tunnels, and it pretty much liquefies the organs of anyone is down those tunnels. If their soldiers try to fight against them or whatnot, that pretty much clears the tunnels, let's say.
Yeah. Now,
just so they can go through.
Generally, when you fire a missile, it flies in a straight line in a very rapid pace. If you've got something flying through a tunnel system at the speed of sound, you got to think it's not going to get very far. You know, the Afghanis have been digging tunnels for a long time. It took, 50 years for the Yanks to get a bomb to get around all those corners. And they just penetrate them now. So what makes this sort of technology different?
It seems to go. I don't look. To be honest, I've seen the footage of it, and I wouldn't know too much about it. I've been told a little bit about it, but I hear it seems to guide itself through the tunnel as it goes.
Yeah,
it just guides itself through these tunnels as it goes, and just lets off this boom, and it sets off all the traps that might be in the tunnels that can kill the soldiers, and also make sure there's no enemies hiding anywhere as they go through.
In any conflict, there is always going to be injury, going to be death.
Of course, there is.
Our current medical level of medical excellence, if you like, would be lacking in a war like this. But thankfully, we've heard a lot about things called med beds. Now, you've supplied me with 3 photos. I've seen photos of med beds before. They've been artist renderers or proved to be artist renders or whatever. What can you tell me about these ones you've shown me here?
Well, once again, I basically just get the intel from the people that I can't say, as we spoke about before. But the med beds, apparently 10 of them were sent to Canberra for the rescue mission, which I can't talk about here, but they're using them on the soldiers, obviously for the trauma as well that they might suffer. These med beds are quantum healing, and quantum healing is like, as we talked about with the gold, it's harnessing, and Tesla was working with this as well before he got shut down. He was shut down by Thomas Edison because they didn't want to. No, they didn't want to have anything free for us. Anything free would set us free. So they made sure that we pay for our electricity up until now. So Tesla was working with more than just harnessing the electricity of the earth. He was also working on healing beds and whatnot. And I do believe it was Donald Trump's uncle who knew Tesla and knew about all the things he was working on as well. So
I'm led to believe that Donald Trump's uncle was the one responsible or tasked, in fact, with cleaning out Tesla's private safe when he disappeared.
That's correct. Yes.
So all that research that he'd done, and he was on the cusp of providing free power to New Hampshire or New England or
everywhere,
everywhere, and
everywhere,
and he disappeared. But the paperwork went to Donald Trump's uncle. Yeah, that's the theory.
That's correct. That is correct. Yes, that's correct. And now I do believe it's in the hands of Donald Trump.
So, there are some other stories, related. Well, more to do with who was related to whom in this whole tree. Do you want to talk about that at all briefly? There's a story that there are 5 cousins involved in the background of Q. You touched on Q earlier.
Let's say not. Well, kind of cousins. Well, let's say I'll be bold and I'll put this out there because I believe 100% this is true. There's people that are alive today that were supposed to have been dead, and they've been working behind the scenes very hard for decades now.
Yeah,
and working on this cleanup of this earth because someone had to do it. And you're going to see a few people that were believed to be dead reappear again once this all comes out. Once the dust all settles on the problems that's going on now at the moment. So, I can want me to name some names, maybe. Yeah. All right. Well, JFK Jr. and I've posted a few pictures of him as of recently as well. They believe Lady Diana to be alive as well.
Wow, that's going to spin people out if that's the truth.
That's going to spin people out because she was being hunted, and Abu al-Fayed was her rescue mission. So she was pulled aside, and she's been working behind the scenes with JFK Jr., with Donald Trump, because you remember JFK Jr. and Donald Trump went to school together, and they were very good friends growing up.
Very good friends, apparently. In fact,
So
I think they shared a room at a university together.
That is correct. And so Donald Trump got to spend time with that family, and the values of that family were instilled in him as well. So as much as he's been vilified to the world, this is the man at the moment that is, he's the one cleaning this swamp. And this swamp needed a big clean, a massive overdue clean.
So I've heard names like Michael Jackson, Elvis.
Chester Bennington.
So
Chris Cornell.
It's going to make a pretty big impact on the world when these people walk back out again, isn't it?
Yeah. Robin Williams is believed to be another one too, but I'm not too sure Robin wants to come back on the scene again unless he comes on.
Yeah,
pretty sure he just wanted out of it all. So
someone's put the name Jim Morrison up on screen. Any hope there, you reckon?
No. I'd love to say that. Sorry if you're a Jim Morrison fan, but Jim Morrison fan was known to have been a Masonic runner for the Illuminati.
All right, there you go.
Sorry about that. And I've had to eat humble pie with a few of the artists I've grown up and loved as well, and found out some pretty bad things about. So it's just how it goes. I'm pretty gutted about it, actually, because there's a lot of people that I've aspired to be like as a musician, and realised these people had already sold their soul to get what they got. And it sort of guts you a bit, because you know what that means when they do. So
I'm going to throw a name at you. Isaac Cappy.
Oh, yeah. I can't say for sure there. I couldn't really say for sure there.
I've been told, yes, that he's alive.
Right, okay. That's good intel.
So, well, it's only good intel if he comes out alive. At the moment, it's just me telling you I've heard he sounds alive. And you know, and we appreciate that, folks. We appreciate that. You know, we don't expect you to believe every word we're saying here, because at the end of the day, we can't stand up and tell you where Isaac Cappy is holed up at the moment, or Elvis, or Princess Di, although I can tell you she's probably pretty close to Donald Trump.
Yes, so, I can tell you that too.
Yeah, just a hint. But
there's a lot of things I can and can't say, you know. So
yeah. There's a lot of things, but particularly on this channel. Which is unfortunate, because the plan, of course, was to be on a different channel this evening, and be able to talk about a few more things. And I had a few more images that I might have been able to show there too. Unfortunately, we've sort of come to the end of the images that I can show. I've got another Medbeds one there I think I can throw up.
It's kind of sad that this channel has to be like that, isn't it? You'd kind of think that this channel would want the right thing for the people, to know the truth and to know what's been happening, and not censor us for that. So
absolutely,
sort of makes you wonder why this channel would do that. You know, like, it makes you think a little bit deeper into what their agenda is.
Well, absolutely. I've dug out a couple of questions here from the pack, just as they've been going down. I haven't got many, because there's a lot of people asking questions. Why did Captain Cook not settle for any other harbour but Botany Bay? He went looking in every bay along the way south, looking for something. Mainstream history is a lie. Have you heard anything about why?
It's all a lie.
It is all a lie. Yeah.
Well, it's all. Well, see, that's the thing. Do we believe what they've told us about Captain Cook anyway? So that goes into another subject, is where you can walk around Sydney, and it's not very hard to look at the architecture of some of these massive buildings in Sydney, like these stone buildings, and realise that they're dated a lot older than what they say they are.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impossible for a bunch of convicts to carve that much of a beautiful stonework. You know what I mean? If you have a look at the balusters on the stairs and just how well this stone's been carved and chipped, it's a little bit more than convicts that have come and built that, I would say. And it's a little bit older than they tell us.
Yeah.
I can tell you that as well.
I've got a question here about gold and gold from the Vatican. I believe outside of Switzerland, the Vatican held the most amount of gold.
Yes, $60 trillion. $60 trillion and 640 plane flights back to the US. That's cargo planes back to the US. I think you might have a few pictures there of the soldiers throwing it into the skip bins
Yes,
to be loaded. So, yeah.
It's
So
staggering to
quite a bit.
load that much gold into skip bins. I mean, just
I know.
yeah.
I'll buy a skip truck and pick it up. That's no problem.
Just one will be fine. One will be enough. Question about wind and solar power going straight underground, and it's not actually offsetting anything in our energy grid. It's actually going to power
yes.
what's happening underground. I thought everything.
That's a great question.
I thought everything underground would be powered by a small nuclear device.
Well, that's the thing. There's lots of different power options they use, and that is a very good question because if you go past down to Canberra and Lake George,
Yep.
we've got a big wind turbine down there, right? I've had intel that under Lake George is there's a deep, but there's facilities all under Lake George as well. So those wind turbines seem to be right above that area. That seems quite strange to me. If you like, why would you need the wind turbines for? Number one, they're useless anyway, if you ask me. Those things fall apart and drop their blade after 10 years, apparently. And they're noisy, they're eyesore, and the wind has to be blowing the right way for them to actually work. So I think they're a rubbish idea, but it does seem to be going somewhere, but not to the grid, as you said.
Yeah.
So I do believe that in different areas of the world, they're using Tesla electricity under the ground already. They also got submarine tunnels where they bring the submarine in. They can pretty much plug the nuclear submarine into the grid and light up their tunnel systems with the nuclear submarine.
Ah, yes,
right. Which is another one as well. So they use the nuclear submarine to power the tunnel systems as well, and they'd also be using hydropower as well, which could explain why the Lake George disappears every now and then. If they're using.
Exactly. Yes, because it does disappear from time to time, quite regularly.
It does. It just all of a sudden goes. And there's a lot of water, even though it's only shallow. There's a lot of water to disappear like that quickly.
Yeah, and it does come back quite quickly when required.
It does. It sounds like a bit of a pump out system, doesn't it? To me, I don't know. Maybe nuclear pump out. Who knows? So there's another thing too that I'll mention, and it's if anyone sort of doubts any validity about these tunnels and what goes on, that's fine. But I'll get you to have a look at if you go onto YouTube and you look up Candy Girl by Fiona Barnett, and there's 1 and 2 version of that. And she was a girl that came from Engadine, New South Wales, who was raised in a satanic Luciferian family, and she got to experience these and see these tunnels for herself.
Yeah.
So in Australia, so if you look up Fiona Barnett, Candy Girl 1 and 2, and watch those 2 videos, and it'll give you more of an insight onto what is actually really happening.
Yes.
So,
I've had a few discussions in the last 4 or 5 days about Fiona Barnett. There is some there's some very interesting. I mean, her story alone is amazing. But there's certainly still a lot of questions surrounding her, and I've been quite surprised by some of the advice I've been given. Put it that way. We're getting a lot of intel names thrown at us. 107. All right. So
107.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know if he's legit or not.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. What's the one?
Well, I haven't. To be honest, I won't say if I don't know. I don't know too much about one. I've watched a few of his videos and listened, but I haven't got too much intel on him, sorry to say. But I've posted a couple of things of his, and they weren't too bad a video to listen to. Still a hard one to work out there, and I will find out a little bit more for you, I promise, before we talk again about one. So I've been very, very, very busy at the moment. Just completely flat chat because I also teach people common law, codes and ethics and things like that as well.
Right, yeah.
So I spend a lot of time teaching people their rights, and I have a shadow ministry as well, working behind me of very good people who I call my family now, and they're quite incredible people to work with. yeah, they know quite a lot of stuff. So yeah, very good. Good to know. But
So,
yeah, so I'll find out about Rhino Slaven, yes, and I'll let you know a little bit more once I find out about him. Yeah.
so tell us a bit about your family in Canberra, by that I mean the
Okay.
hardcore types you've been hanging out with for a while now.
It's really funny because we sort of just all, as we met, we all clicked and we've been camping out down there. We know the whole system is upside down, corrupt, unlawful. We understand. We don't. We comprehend. I'll never use that word understand again. That's going. We don't understand. We don't stand under. But we comprehend that there's something needed to change down there. We're pretty much down there representing the fact that we know it's unlawful, and we're getting the proof that it's all unlawful for the people.
Yep.
So by standing out there at the Governor General House, we were asking him to release the names on the Wood Royal Commission of all the Are we allowed to talk about that? Yep.
No, let's not.
So
people.
Okay.
We say the Wood Royal Commission. They know what we're talking about.
Yeah, the Wood Royal Commission, and we received a letter from the Governor General that we still have to this day in our hands that states that he does not have any jurisdiction over a state matter. So that I found someone who's supposed to be a representative of the Crown, should have jurisdiction over pretty much everything in the country, including dissolving an unlawful government. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So
I thought as Governor Generals in the country go, he was sort of like the Governor's General, Governor General.
Yeah, well, one would think, yes,
head
that's
honcho.
right. But there is a higher person than the Governor General. There's the Postmaster General, because flags and stamps are the highest thing in this country. In every country, actually, for that fact. So the Postmaster General is higher than the Governor General.
You're now taking me back to my very early years, and I remember the red PMG vans that used to drop the mail off to the mailboxes or pick the mail up at the mailboxes, back when Australia Post was called the Postmaster General's office. Are you telling me that the CEO of Australia Post is the Postmaster General?
Yes, I'm pretty much what I'm telling you. Yes. So they're higher than the Governor General. So they could also dissolve a government if need be. But so the whole problem that we have in this country is all this system runs on a fictional queen now.
Yes.
It runs on the Queen of Australia, which is just an act, which is a piece of paper.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So that's the whole problem. We've been thrown under the bus, in other words, and the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth of Australia is now a fiction.
Yes, a double-decker bus at that, probably.
Exactly, a double-decker bus with a big bull bar on the front.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Red Pill Glenn, I've got to say, it's been a very interesting first show. I'm sorry for those folks who were expecting maybe a little bit more detail. We've been limited because of technical circumstances tonight. And as you can see, even this is playing up on me at this end. So I've got to try and figure out what's going on. So we hope to have all that fixed. And maybe you'll come back next week and join us for another installment. Maybe we can pick a new subject. Any ideas?
Oh, I'd love to, we get some of the viewers to write into you and about what they would like to know about, whether it be about constitutional law or something like that, knowing their rights against council or whatever it might be. Like I'd like to teach people to the best of my ability what I know, and like everybody, we're only, we don't know everything. We try, we learn, we research. We're not always going to be right, but we're going to do our best to be. Do our best to be accurate, and we're going to be a lot more accurate than the mainstream media. I can promise you that.
Absolutely. You will get nothing but the truth like that from here. Well, all right. I look forward to that. So, folks, if you have any questions for Glenn, then please email me at voiceoffreedomhq@gmail.com. voiceoffreedomhq@gmail.com, and I'll line those up for him. And we'll try and get through that next week. We will have a stern talking with your Mac, and hopefully be able to kick it into life before next week's program, so we can put a face to the spectacular name.
with a ball peen hammer, I might have a talk to it with.
That's
But,
the spirit.
yeah.
That's the spirit.
But yes, and I'd like just to have a quick shout out to all my subscribers on my channel. Hope you're enjoying what I post, and I'd like to thank you, Carl, for having me on the show.
Mate, lovely having you. And just tell people the name of your channel again, at Telegram channel we're talking about here.
Yes, it's Patriot 101, and it's capital letters and no gap between Patriot and 101.
Right, there you go. Patriot 101, all caps and no gaps. And
all caps and no gaps.
Yeah, sorry,
That's
yeah,
what
all
it goes
caps
through.
and no gaps. So,
that's great. That's a good slogan. Thanks for that, Carl.
It is.
Awesome.
We'll sort you out, mate. Don't you worry about that. We might even try and develop one of those flying UFO T-shirts that, you know, is a bit like the Emperor's New Clothes. See if we can.
Oh, fantastic!
Start distributing
awesome.
that.
I'm in for it.
I'm looking for a cloaked cloak. I'd pay $50 for a cloaked cloak.
Yeah, that'd be unreal, wouldn't it? That'd be so good. Oh, cool. It'd be the best.
All right, folks. Once again, thank you for joining us tonight. Really appreciate your patience with us. We got running a little bit late this evening. Can I also tell you that there is an opportunity that I've been afforded through one of you. Some people who own a business have offered to help me out with the show a little bit, but they are also looking for people in the southeast corner of Queensland, from the Gold Coast through to the Sunshine Coast. They're looking for people who can install solar products. So if you're looking for a job installing solar and you have the appropriate accreditation and all that sort of stuff, email me, please, at voiceoffreedomhq@gmail.com, and I'll hook you up with these wonderful folks. And who knows, we might be able to set you up in a little business. Well, they might be able to set you up in a little business. And they've got a fair bit of work coming on with solar. This company has a very spectacular base in the solar industry in southern states, and they're looking at battery technology now too. So we haven't touched on it tonight, Glenn. Do you want to say anything about these rolling power strikes? People are worried and concerned that we've got power stations going under left and right, and nothing's going to work anymore.
I think, I think just be prepared. Like we've been told many times, and you'll get my situation updates every now and then on my channel, and they're quite good. Just be prepared. Just make sure you got like torches, batteries, candles, all this sort of stuff, because it may come. There's nothing wrong with our power. They're just cutting it on purpose. It's all rubbish. It's just playing games with us. That's all it is. But look, it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. It could be, we don't know what the military's up to either. So it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing, and I can't say because I'm not one of them. So hopefully it's a good thing, and hopefully they're cutting the power because they might be hooking us over to Tesla. Yeah, if that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, there's already one of those big batteries in South Australia, isn't there? Yeah,
well, it's basically just a receptor, no battery. So it runs on a receptor and it picks up the energy and just disperses it. So that's how it runs. Yeah. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. So if that's the case, that'd be great. No more power bills. But your power is your inalienable right. I'll let everybody know that right now.
Yeah.
They cannot take your power away from you.
And they can't make you pay for it again, which is what
they can't make you pay for it again. No, they can. Just quickly, I had a friend who had a mental health problem, and they cut his power off for 2.5 weeks. Yep. But his mental health problem, he didn't pay his bill because of the mental health problem. So he had that put on very quickly when I made a phone call to the electricity company, and they put him under a new account and waived the $3,000 he owed.
Wow.
So it is your inalienable right. They cannot take that away from you. Water or electricity are your inalienable rights. They can't cut them off.
And you did that using the common law practices that you're teaching people, or you just had a common heart-to-heart human talk to somebody?
Well, a bit of both.
Yeah.
A bit of both. Yeah, it's a bit of both. Was also letting them know within the law they are breaking the law by doing so. So, and if they know, especially with a mental health person, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, sure.
It's crazy. It's not very nice.
One last question. Yeah. Somebody wants to know, is John McAfee alive?
I think yes.
Yeah, I do too.
But I'm not too sure. I think yes. Yep. But I haven't got much proof for that. But I do believe he is. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I've just got a feeling too. It's just some of the stuff that gets posted.
You sort of learn to have that. You sort of learn to know within yourself that gut feeling. You know.
Yeah.
That's I do believe so. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, once again, a bloody great show. Thanks for coming on and joining us. And I look forward to next week when we can actually have you face to face. And hopefully I'll get all this.
No worries at all.
Sorted out in the background. Don't know what's going on with it tonight. It's gone and played weird. But I've got to be honest, ever since I programmed this show earlier this afternoon and set the slides up and all that, this computer has been doing really weird things. So I've even rebooted it and it, still playing funny buggers. So
it's because you're interviewing me, Carl. That's what it is.
You've got a hell of a reputation, Red Pill Glenn.
That's what happens when you hang out at Governor General House for 14 weeks.
Now, okay. Well, look, you can tell us. Do you guys get out on the water of Burley Griffin or get across the road and blast the Governor General's house from the other side?
I came back to work because I had to come back because I run a business, but I came back before they started doing that. That's when they got locked out of the road. But we'll go in there every morning and having breakfast and basically having our cup of tea and having the bacon and eggs out of the back of the utes.
Yeah.
And there was a good crowd, like about, say, up to 100 people every day, every morning.
Yeah, wow.
And then we do the last post, the ode, and we address the Governor General to do his duty.
And he promptly ignored you and you went home.
Yeah, that's what they do, and we knew it. But you know what? We're stayers. We hang around. We're not going to go away. We're the pilot lights of this country, so we've got to keep the flame burning. You know. So
all power to you. All power to you. Thanks, mate. Look forward to talking to you again next week.
Okay, brother. No worries. Thank you, Carl. God bless all.
You too, mate.
See you, mate.
And thank you, folks. We'll talk again a little later on this week, possibly tomorrow night. But if not tomorrow night, then Friday. We're going to be talking Julian Assange, and I've got somebody who's very close to Julian, has been very close to him for most of his life. And in the coming weeks, I hope to be able to have Julian's father on for a chat. So if you're at all interested in what's going on with Julian Assange, we're going to get some intel from very close to, about as close as you can get, hopefully by the end of this week. So look forward to bringing that to you. I'm very excited. Got some pretty good people coming on the show. And regulars who want to come on and talk. And that's because you folks have been so great and want to come along and support me. We're clearly all pulling in the same direction. I mean, aside from the odd trolls that come through, but can't do much about them. But for the most part, everybody's pulling the same direction. We all want to learn. We all want to learn new things. I'm not telling you anything you have to believe. All I'm showing you and trying to show you is that there are options. There are other ways to look at, the way the world is being sold to you. And here is a way you can go and explore those and find out for yourself. So I hope that this helps you. And if it helps you, maybe it'll help someone you know. So please, as the Aussie Cossack goes on to say, like and subscribe. And we'll see you again for the next show. Which will be a very interesting one, hopefully based on Julian Assange. Once again, be safe on the roads. There are plenty of dickheads on the road, folks. Don't be one. See you next time.